Hello, everyone, and welcome to our World Healing Session. This is for August 12th, 2025. I'm Terryann. What we're going to do today is look at the mouth oral cavity. So, what we want to get to start with first is there's a lot that goes on in the mouth, right? So much. It's the primary filter to what we're going to put in our bodies. And oftentimes, if you are highly intuitive, you may um, you may be overwhelmed by what comes in through your filters. So just hear that again. If you're highly intuitive, you may be overwhelmed by what comes in, and then you won't be able to discern what needs to go into your body. You might just put in a lot to it maybe matches the information coming in. Maybe it supports the overload of information. Now, there's also the other extreme where someone is overly defensive and they're going to be super picky about the food that goes into their bodies. And then there's all the variations in between. So, super picky versus less picky. We want to look at the oral microbiome. We've got the microbiome that is before the mouth. And we want to make sure that we're reading it without getting overloaded or overly defensive. So let's just tap that in. This is for discernment. That's going to be your heart and your small intestine, but also linking to this beautiful oral microbiome. Because we want what goes into this mouth, whatever is going to fulfill the gums, the teeth, the blood, lymph, nerve, your electrons, the hydration, the dryness. There's also our tongues. I've got it's blue today because I took methylene blue, but there's a crack in the middle. And I kind of go, oh, that's really funny. There's a crack. But my mother's got the exact same crack going down the middle. So, either it's diagnosed, something's wrong, which they say, I think it's liver. And when it's a one down the middle, I can't remember though. Don't quote me on that. So we want to make sure that the tongue is also well circulated, has a lot of information. Now, I said a lot of information, and in that there's a lot of information. I'm not going to tell you all of it because those links are done. It's basically everything to increase circulation to tongue, gums, roots, and in infection. So very often you can get food going into the teeth, pockets. A lot of people have pockets, especially if you're Mediterranean like me, you get a lot of pockets, and those pockets create infection. And usually it requires a surgery where you lift up the flap of the gum and they go in and they dig in there and close it up. So I just had 2 surgeries like that last week to help that clear out. But we can increase the capacity to attract the foods that are going to best serve. It doesn't mean it wouldn't go into the pocket. It doesn't mean it wouldn't rot. Of course it would, even if it's good food. But we're going to use foods that are going to best, and that's going to be for each person, best feed the gums. Then we have the one where you get an aching tooth, where the tooth hurts. That can be a cavity, that can be a crack, that can be loose tooth, that can be like I had a shattered root a few 6 months ago, and supposedly it came from a hit. Something must have hit the tooth. It could have been anywhere in my life. I'm always hitting my head and face places. I don't know if anyone's like me, I'll always lose grip of my hand and then punch myself in the face. And I'm like, ooh. I've done that a lot. And I did it to the other side after I got this tooth removed, and I did it to the other side and kind of freaked out. So we're going to work with strengthening the dentin, the root, the connection of the root, and whatever can shatter it, including, the wearing away of the nerves. But also we want to look at the nerve that gets stimulated, because a lot of times when you have pain and air's going in, it can require removal of the tooth or a root canal. And root canals are not my happy place, that's for sure. Every time I tune into a root canal, not too happy about that. So we want to clear the area that would, traditionally get the canal, to help it find its way to clear out the area and stop the, let's say, liquid garbage going downward, so into the root. Okay, so it just feels like in the collective there are a lot of people who need a root canal, and there's always somebody I'm meeting who needs a root canal, and also roots. So we just really, there's a really bad taste in my mouth right now too. So we're just going to detox that. And I'm going to go down to some quantum work that's going to be for hydration and also supporting the strength of the root to have a proper hold. And then we also have the bone itself. We're going to just get a slew of stem cells to go to the bone. So we need some stem cell production. We'll use flavonoid to support the production of stem cells. So we want production. This is all the gunas, production, distribution, and reaching its target. So that's not the easiest thing to do with root. Root needs a total reconstruction and may require stem cell, but for the bone, the tooth, the gum, the tooth, the bone, gum, tooth. What was I thinking? And some of the requirements in the nerve. Okay, so I'm looking at poison infection in the gums. So you can imagine, we're eating and food just so readily is trapped everywhere. So I can just feel and taste right now all of the, rotting food in mouths, in the gums, in the between the teeth. And tuning into the world, it's kind of weird because a lot of people, not everyone's going to use dental floss. Not everyone's going to use a water pick. Not everyone's going to use an interdent device. Not everyone's going to use 2 or 3 toothbrushes in a day and variations of toothpaste and different fluids and salt wash, which is what I do daily. So, it's a heck of an oral routine. And, it's not that easy for everyone to do that, but I highly advise that if you don't have a good oral routine, you begin. So one thing is to get in between the teeth. And if you've got openings, you need the interdent. So ask your dentist, get those interdent. You can even put toothpaste on it. My dentist really showed me how to go in there. And usually I would just go in and out, but she gets you to go side to side. So you're going up the 2 sides of the gum, which is just beautiful. Loved it. So I've been doing that every day. And I definitely, I had 3 surgeries in my mouth just, it's like almost 2 weeks ago, and they've healed really nicely. The areas feel really good, and I started brushing pretty quickly right on the area. That's how well it was healing. Of course, I did a ton of these treatments on myself. So the next day I was energized. I was going, I'm not supposed to eat on certain parts of the mouth, but still it's just been amazing. So really take to heart how much energy medicine, especially when we're doing the cell itself needs at a quantum level to, and this is really at the point of event horizon, that when the event horizon is, this is for everything, but we're going to use the mouth in this case, so that it's constantly reinforcing the, because there are lots of things that go on in the mouth. It is the precursor of everything in the body. One, two, there's some odd things that go on in the mouth, like, yeah, we're constantly getting toxins in there, and it's not an acid bath. It's really the beginning of enzymes that break down the food. But you can imagine all the different things that are going into the mouth. One, two, we could breathe in through our mouth quite often. Uh, three, the discernment process that we have. And four, the bone is a little bit different from what I've understood from my dentist. The bone in the jaw is different. Now, I know they've used stem cells for my bone, but the bone isn't like the rest of our bones where you put pressure on those bones and they grow, right? So we do weightlifting so we can develop our bones, right? The bones can get bigger and stronger. The osteoclasts and osteoblasts work that way. But the jaw is a little bit different. It doesn't do it. We need stem cell to go in there. And I've had stem cell treatment in my mouth and it worked really, really well. So I keep sending stem cell because I have these Mediterranean gums that tend to have a lot of pockets, and you can tell by what I've told you, I do a lot of work. I'm at the dentist 4 to 6 to 8 times a year. It's crazy. I mean, I could just live there and never leave if I want to save my teeth are fine, but gums are not. So I want to work all of it where it's teeth, gums, root, and also the body. We have to go into the body now. So I can already feel gurgling going on. So where's the gut brain and the heart brain in relationship to your mouth and your consciousness of your life? So a lot of people don't take all this into account, but we need to take it into account that our consciousness is also going to determine a lot. So is family history. That's through eighth chakra energetically, but also genetics. The genetics, like everything I've told you, is what I'm putting in the session. Like if you're Mediterranean, if you come from a culture or a family that has had problems with teeth, all of that kind of thing. I have one person on here whose mother was a dentist. And, it's kind of funny that, that energy is there. Maybe the culture this person comes from, I've never heard has problems with teeth, but this culture has amazing dentists, like really amazing. People travel all the world to go to well, all of Europe. They tend to go to Poland to go to the dentist because they're really, really sophisticated. So whatever their issue is with teeth and mouth, I don't know, maybe because they're a strong bunch of people and they, you know, don't, I tend to eat soft foods, but they probably eat really good crunchy foods and meat. And I don't know. Do you guys eat pig's feet? No, that's just a French thing. Or yeah, but good meats, right? So you need good chewy teeth, potatoes that are, you know, well, potatoes are soft though, but anyway, whatever it is that you eat that's crunchy, I can't even get some meat in my teeth at this point. I'm only allowed to chew here for a while. So just right there, two teeth I'm allowed to chew on for a while. So yeah, there's going to be no meat in this mouth for a while. All right. So there we go. Now just hold your abdomen and get in touch with it. Kind of talk to it and say, look, um, gut brain, I'm with you. I'm gonna listen to you. And if you're off target, if you don't know what I need, which that's my problem many times, I don't know what I need. And that was the beginning of the session. That's the overwhelm. I'm going to bring in this say to your gut, let's bring in this part of the session this chick online is doing, and get that session to help me not be overwhelmed, help you, gut brain, not be overwhelmed, so you can really see what works for you in your body. What's going to work for not only your mouth, but for your brain, for every organ, and what your gut brain is telling you, right? So remember, I started this with those people who are really intuitive. sometimes they can be super overwhelmed, right? Because we all know that it's very, very hard for us to intuit for ourselves. That's just the way things are. We you could ask any stranger, this is famous bartenders. You could go to a bartender, talk to a bartender about your problems, and they'll see your solution really clearly. Sometimes I wonder why we need such sophisticated psychologists to figure things out when you could stop a stranger on the street and they will tell you clearly your problem. But you cannot see your own. That's just the way we are filtered to see the world. We just can't see our own. That's why we do stuff like this. That's why we go to other people. That's why we need that support of the group of family to show us, hey, we're not doing it. So we know that, but it would be nice if we could listen a little bit more to the gut brain, not the mind. Okay, please. You're not going to hear words from your gut brain. It doesn't necessarily speak, it doesn't speak English, French, Greek, Italian, or any other language. It actually just informs you of what's going on. So it might inform you, let's say you go to eat something that's not good for you. You might feel yourself drawn to it and attracted to it, but your gut brain goes, don't do it. And then you usurp it because everything else is telling you to do it. But it's going to taste good. It's going to be good. So those are the thoughts, right? Oh, I love this part of the session. Okay, so let's just tap that through and let's go off. And then wait, one more thing is pain. We want to reduce pain. Now, I don't want to just reduce pain to hide any symptoms that are indicating repair. We want to reduce pain so the body mind is better able to deal with what's going on rather than dealing with the pain. Okay. And then also getting the brain to go straight, using all this session to go straight to the areas that are of concern in the mouth. Go to the areas that are of concern in the mouth. There's another topic, which is how you breathe. So people with sleep apnea tend to have, the way the mouth is constructed, or the way you breathe, the way you move. The mouth moves in a particular way, locks the throat, and then you can't breathe. So we're going to allow for a dynamic interactive formula to adjust that part of sleep apnea. Oof, that was a nice deep breath. Okay, there you go. Have a great week. Enjoy that. Tap that in every day so that you have a stronger and better oral microbiome and mouth. Take care, everyone. Bye.